Hello, it's Peggy Lee. Thanks for listening to Time Well Spent. Before we start the show, I'd like to invite you to listen to another OhitsBigRon Studios production, Talking Loud and Saying Nothing. Talking Loud and Saying Nothing is an advice podcast in which host, Mass Potential, and co-host Ronald talk about every topic under the sun, then attempt to answer advice questions from the listeners. While they're barely qualified to be handing out life advice to others, they have a great time discussing their opinion on politics, dating, black culture, pop culture, and everything in between. You'll have a great time listening to them and may even find yourself arguing your own point of view at your listening device. Check out Talking Loud and Saying Nothing wherever you get your podcasts. And now, without further ado, let's start the show.
Recently, I got a PS4 and started playing a popular and addictive game called Rocket League. It's a soccer game played with race cars. If you need a clearer picture, hop on YouTube and look up Best Rocket League Trick Shots, and you'll get a taste of what makes the game so fun to play. Much like when I started playing video games in the 90s, every game is better when you play with your friends in a group. For the longest time, my only gaming partner was my sister Marilyn, who will tell you herself was not the best at video games. So in order to step up the competition, I either had to coordinate playing at a friend's house, have a friend over, or have the ever-elusive sleepover where we played much of the night. Today, none of that is necessary, as playing with friends or even strangers is seconds away when you select the Play Online function. Of course, playing online isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I'm pretty sure the last 7 times I was called the N-word was online. So there's definitely risk when it comes to anonymous preteens and teens having access to the world beyond their parents' supervision while in the safety of their parents' house. However, for me, the worst part about playing online isn't the blatant racism. Well, the racism is definitely the worst thing, but for the purpose of this episode, that is not what I'll be addressing. The worst part about playing online is lag. L-A-G. When you play a video game online, you're dealing with multiple people logging into what is essentially a shared virtual room in which the wireless load is shared by the internet of all the people inside. At times, this can be taxing to the servers, blah, 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 technical stuff, but what results is lag. Lag can be manifested in several ways. The first is when you get a blank screen but can hear everything that's going on and the game continues without you. Or when the sound goes in and out and your screen freezes and starts over and over and your controls become unresponsive. Or, my personal least favorite, when the sound is crystal clear, but what you see on the screen allows you to only have control for seconds at a time. This is basically the worst because you feel like at any moment you'll have full control of the game. And sometimes that control does come back quickly, but in most cases you're just on the edge of the game, trying to be effective. And all you can do is hope, and sometimes pray, control is restored. One of the most sinister things about lag is that in many cases when you're lagging, everyone else is experiencing a fully normal game, and from their perspective, you're either completely still and unresponsive or all of your moves appear erratic. So most of you know I produce a second podcast under the OhitsBigRon Studios banner, Talking Loud and Saying Nothing with Mass Potential. Definitely be sure to check that out wherever fine podcasts are found. We recently did our 2017 wrap-up show, episode 25, and I want to play you a clip of something I mentioned there.
And then the way, even with the podcast and all that stuff, like there was, I had a lot of momentum the first 6 months of the year. Then professionally, things started to go a little sideways around June. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you were there for most of that. Like that was a rough, I would say 3 to 4 months. Yeah. So from June, July, August, September, that was rough. October, November were rough because I was trying to find a new job.
Sure.
So November, I started a new job. Yeah. And that kind of changed the rest of the year. So it's basically been settling into the new stuff. Okay. So while that's been going on, all of the personal stuff, like the company, the podcast, all that stuff has not been doing what I want to do. And everyone keeps asking me, oh, when are you going to get new episodes out? What's going on? What's going on? Are you still doing the podcast? Yeah. And the answer is yes.
Yeah. And it's annoying. It's an annoying question because it's like, yes, and I know that I haven't done it. And don't remind me, you jerks.
Yes. Many jerks were asking about the status of Time Well Spent. Honestly, I always expected to be back with a new episode. The problem was that life kept getting in the way, and it became increasingly harder to dedicate time to producing quality episodes of the show. Everything continued outside of my control, and people wondered why I appeared to either be moving erratically or not moving at all. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing with the last 7 months of my life. That's the amount of time since we've had a new episode of the show, and the direction of Time Well Spent going forward. Spoiler alert, I am not giving up, and the show is continuing. I was just experiencing some lag. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Time Well Spent with Ronald, the podcast that nobody asked for, yet somebody is listening to. I'm Ronald. All right, one of the projects I had going in the last 7 months was to replace the theme song. That's right, the one you're still hearing underneath my voice right now. Due to some yet unresolved licensing issues, I decided it would be best if I could find a theme that both fit the show and that I would have the peace of mind to freely use over and over without consequence. I thought the best person for the job would be the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder, whose work with Gimlet Media and more specifically the Reply All podcast I greatly admire. So I reached out to them and we came up with something pretty good. Now, Breakmaster Cylinder is a little hard to get in personal contact with as they're an entity that lives in space. That's right. Outer space. However, I got them to give me some reflections on working together to arrive at a great theme song.
Ron contacted me on our production company's website and asked for a theme song for Time Well Spent. After we emailed back and forth a little, he came up with reference tracks. Kanye West. Did you realize? Open Mike Eagle.
Landed someplace I ain't never been. Yet again, space travel veteran.
And Tame Impala. So for round one, I wrote him very short little drafts that sounded like Kanye West. That one particular Open Mike Eagle beat. And Tame Impala. Ron responded by saying, "The Impala ones are fire," which is nice. Then he asked me to make the bass line heavier. His actual words were, "Think along the lines of Warren G. regulators in terms of the bass feeling good than just supporting you since you were a child all the way through college, if that makes sense." So we did that. After the Impala draft was settled on, I went back and made a full-length draft. Ron and Mass Potential are the only people I've ever worked with who sent me back notes in the form of my very own mini radio show, debating the virtues of 8-bit synthesizers versus electronic piano sounds.
The melody of the 8-bit synth I like better. The doom, 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 ding, doom, doom.
Yeah, I like that part.
I like all of that.
Yeah, I like that part.
That melody, no matter what, if you use piano, I think that melody has to stick.
Yeah. Actually, that would work.
Yeah.
Actually, that would work really well.
We went back and forth until they were happy. It isn't something I would have written on my own, and I like it. It was awesome working with Ron. He's friendly and enthusiastic. What more could you ask for? I live in space.
So after some back and forth, all via email, and discussion on the style I wanted to convey, BMC came up with a great theme song for Time Well Spent, which I'm excited to debut for you at the end of this episode. However, from now until then, I'll play snippets of the theme in order to set the mood. So the second thing I was working on the past 7 months was another something I think will improve the show. That is my ability to tell stories and adhere to narrative structure. The whole start of this podcast began because I wanted a palatable way for everyone to see how my brain works and how I arrive at the majority of my conclusions. Specifically, I wanted an outlet that wasn't necessarily Facebook, that would give clarity to some of the political and social positions that I take and would be easily digested for the people I'm trying to convince. However, the bottom line is that I wanted to be able to talk to people using the easiest method I feel there is, and that is telling them a story. For this, I enrolled in a local storytelling class with Story District. I got Amy Sedman, the Executive Creative Director of Story District, to break down what storytelling is. I apologize in advance for the less than stellar quality audio. I recorded this using my portable recorder, and we were at a coffee shop.
Storytelling, I find that people say it's cool because it's a window into other people's lives. So it's sort of both things. Either they hear a story that's completely unfamiliar, and that's got its own satisfaction, but even in that unfamiliarity of the actual content, or that the person is different from them, or their background's different, there's still this common ground, and that's satisfying. Or it's something so familiar that you just feel it's just got this other kind of thing that is enjoyable. But I think ultimately, if it's told well, if it's told honestly and authentically, that it's entertaining and people feel a connection to, we say, there's a connection to our common humanity, and I actually think that's true. I think it's hard to say it out loud without it sounding a little corny or like we're trying to get a grant. But I hear it so much, and I believe it, and I do think that is true. I think that that's what's happening. Like, it's really feeding people's souls.
Amy continues on to mention how podcasting has pushed storytelling into the public eye, and even mentions a few of my favorite shows as catalysts for the recent interest in storytelling. Podcasting and storytelling go hand in hand because it takes the medium of audio and allows for an intimate experience with the listener. Also, many of the methods that make for effective storytelling can easily be translated to executing any type of content, like recording a podcast. So I enrolled in Storytelling 101, which was a 5-week class available at Story District. This cut into my editing time for Time Well Spent, but seemed like ultimately the right thing to do because it would improve the show. Last September, I stood on the Story District stage and told a story about a customer interaction I had while working part-time at Starbucks. It went well. However, more importantly, it helped me decide how I wanted to craft Time Well Spent going forward. One aspect of that is making sure that each episode has a central question to answer. For this episode, the question would be, why wasn't there an episode of Time Well Spent since July 2017? All right, so this is getting pretty meta, so let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll talk about the final thing that slowed me down in the last 7 months.
As you know, recently I've partnered with Ronald on the production of Talking Loud and Saying Nothing under the banner of OhitsBigRon Studios. Now we're looking to keep creating dope content for overthinkers like you that enjoy the show and our sister show, Time Well Spent. We appreciate your support and listening, but now we're offering you the opportunity to go one step further by contributing to our Patreon. Patreon is a site that allows content creators like us to connect directly with our listeners and allow them to help with production by becoming monthly contributors. We currently have 3 levels that you can contribute on, with the lowest being just $2 a month. If you're interested, need more details, or you want to chip in, go on over to patreon.com/OhitsBigRon. That's patreon.com/OhitsBigRon. patreon.com/OhitsBigRon. OhitsBigRon Studios is looking to grow in the years to come, and you can be a part of this by supporting us early. We appreciate your support, and thanks for listening. All right, now let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Time Well Spent. You know what it is. All right, so the biggest reason there were no new episodes was that my job at the time had finally gotten to me. Last year was the first year that I realized how much being unhappy at work can seep into the rest of your life. My parents supported me much during this time throughout every complaint. My mother, fan favorite Peggy Lee, is retired now. However, she has been no stranger to dealing with issues at work, and here she talks a little bit about how a bad job situation can affect the rest of your life.
Well, when things are going bad at work, you don't leave them at work. You bring them home with you. You bring them home. You take them to church. You always have it on your mind. So it has to seep in every area of your life, especially if you're concerned about losing a job, or you want to know why you didn't get an award, or why I didn't get an award, why we didn't get recognized for something. Yeah, it does. It's a part of your life. You just can't separate it from all the other things that's happening.
My mom continues on and talks about methods for coping with a tough job situation. I definitely took her up on both strategies.
Well, when things went bad at work for me, what I would do is, I was always praying about it. I would pray about it and then take some sort of action. So I was applying for other jobs. I was, basically that was it. I mean, I had a folder, a file folder of jobs that I had applied for. I just immediately started applying for other jobs, and I applied for so many jobs that when I started getting calls for interviews, I didn't know which job it was. So I would have to ask them, which job is this again? And then I would consult my folder, pull it out. Oh, yes, I'm interested in that. Right. So that's what I did. When things got bad, you only have 2 choices. You either stay and deal with it, or you make an exit plan.
So I executed my exit plan. I got a full-time job in mid-November, and I spent the rest of 2017 settling into it. However, once I got my bearings, it was time to get back to executing my ultimate exit plan, which you're supporting right now. So that's what's been going on for the past 7 months. Now let's talk about the future. Last year, my goal was to put out 24 episodes of Time Well Spent. I got to 11, then I picked up production of Talking Loud and Saying Nothing, plus everything I've already mentioned in the episode, so my plate got a little full, and I'd say I was way more ambitious than I should have been in our first year of existence. This year, we're aiming for 12 really good episodes, so expect to see them once a month. Also note, I'm going to try to dig deeper and be a little more transparent with my episodes. I think it'll make for richer content and a better show. Before I sign off, I want to give special thanks to a few folks who helped make this episode happen. Pamela Perez of PS Photography Design. She's the photographer behind the great promotional pictures that we used for this episode and will be using for the rest of this year. If you want to see more of her work, you can go over to her website, psphotographydesign.com. The mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder, who also provided the ad music at the top of the episode as well as my new theme music. Amy Sedman of Story District. If you're local to the DC, Maryland, Virginia area and you're interested in getting into storytelling yourself, you can go on over to the Story District website, storydistrict.org. Of course, fan favorite Peggy Lee, and my partner in crime, Mass Potential, aka Mr. Michael Jefferson. So we're moving ahead. More Ronald in the future, more Oh It's Big Ron Studios shows coming in the future. However, for the moment, please know that I strive to make every minute you spend listening to me time well spent. Time Well Spent is a production of Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Theme music provided by royalty-free music from Ben Sound. Outro music provided by Michael Corte. If you want to reach out and talk about the show or have ideas of how we can improve, you can reach me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram at OhitsBigRon. That's OhitsBigRon. Time Well Spent will be back soon. Thanks for listening.
Can you talk some more so I can test your levels?
Okay, I'm talking some more so that I can test some levels.
You have your phone. That's the distraction.
Cuisinart replacement charcoal filters, water filters for the use with all Cuisinart coffee makers, featuring our premium charcoal water filtration system.
It's the premium charcoal water?
It's the premium charcoal filtration system.
Okay.
Charcoal water filtration system.
Gotcha. Okay, keep talking.
Cuisinart replacement charcoal water filters.
Can you yell?
We recommend yell.
No, I need you to like go up.
Up.
Yeah, Mom.
Go up.
No, like into the mic though.
Go up.
Say something like you're really excited.
Excited.
No, like with your voice.
With my voice.
Act like you're somebody's preaching, and you're like, all right now.
All right now.
Okay, why are you?
I don't know, Ronald, because I don't never have to do this before.
That was perfect. Thank you. Because you never let me test your levels before.
Those are my levels.
Okay.
Bed Bath & Beyond, $8.99. Cuisinart replacement charcoal water filters.
This episode is brought to you by Cuisinart replacement charcoal water filters. Cuisinart, we clean it up so you don't have to. Okay, so
the premium charcoal water filtration systems.
Got you.
And now, without further ado, let's start the show.
You have to say now, without further ado, let's start the show, and don't lean back from the mic. You need to be in the mic because it changes the levels. Let's say the last line again.
And now, without further ado, let's start the show.
Say it again. You said let's.
As a frequent contributor to the show, even I can say that Time Well Spent is indeed podcast that nobody asked for yet someone's listening to.
Say that again and say, as a frequent contributor to the show, even I can say that.
Okay, okay. Oh, because I'm talking. It's me. Yes. Oh, okay. Got it. All right. As a frequent...
No sandwiches on this craft services table, I noticed.
Should there be sandwiches on this craft service table?
It's part of the contract.
Why is he so loud? Oh.
So, why is it finances or a check or direct deposit part of my contract?
Well, we're not. No one's getting paid.
Huh.
We all depend on the goodness of each other.
Yes.
So you want me to?
Hello, it's Peggy Lee. Hello,
yeah,
Peggy Lee. It is.
Some ribs or something?
No, don't do it. 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 Get out of that refrigerator. Back away from the ribs.
Okay, go ahead and start.
Oh, you were taping?
Yes.
Hello, it's Peggy Lee.
Try that one again.
I can't do it. It's like a test. Okay. Hello, it's Peggy Lee. Hello, it's Peggy Lee.
Do your normal one. Hello, it's Peggy Lee.
You want elevator music?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, we're done?
No, I think that's it for the episode. I think that's all I needed. You gave me 2 really good clips.
Oh, good.
All right, so thanks for sticking around to the very, very end of the episode. I know you guys are ready. I know you've been waiting for it. It's time to debut the new Time Well Spent theme song. Turn your volume up. Turn it up. If you're in your headphones, if you're in your car, turn your volume up. Turn it up. Marilyn, turn up your volume. I'm talking specifically to you. Turn it up. Thank you all. Please enjoy the new Time Well Spent theme song created by Breakmaster Cylinder.